Hey Leo. Hey Leo fam, how you be? Thank you so much for joining me. Let's check on the types of vibes that you may have to look forward to for July of 2025, shall we? Goodness. Fam. Fam. Those, what turned out to be 3 cards that dropped while I was doing that initial shuffle. Okay, let's go ahead and cut the deck now. Apparently it's time. So I like to think of the tarot as a story, right? We're beginning right off the bat with the High Priestess. So whether you do tarot readings as well or not, someone's intuition is on point. Might be a bit of noise going on in the background. I slack-a-lacked with getting ready to do this, and now the garbage trucks and the recycling have joined in the party, I suppose. After that card, it's a very particular major arcana. That's intuition, right? Guidance from this, very connected to the moon. And these columns with the B and the J have a tendency, what is it? It's the Solomon's Temple, right? Isn't one about truth? I can never remember what, I need to just look that back up again because it keeps coming up. I'm just like, I can't remember. After that card though, fam, came the 10 of Cups. Look at that. Look at that emotional fulfillment. Whatever that looks like for you, whether it's your honey and your children and the home in the countryside, lots of space, lots of elbow room to run around and be free. There's even a babbling brook. You know what I mean? Whatever family and emotional maturity and fulfillment means for you. This is the end of a cycle, and it's like the best outcomes. Following that card that's talking about the end of a cycle is a card talking about transformation. There's that Scorpio energy there, the things that are those undercurrents and things, right? On that white horse. I always feel like this religious figure that's in front of them that's like, whoa, shit, is actually yourself, your wisdom, recognizing that the way you've been going about things isn't how you're going to continue on. It has nothing to do, the wisdom from it all and such, you are who you are now, and that, sure, okay, fine. But otherwise, the way you went about things, the way you reacted, the way, there's elements to that are just completely changing and shifting, and Aries, I mentioned, like the difference between retiring and just not knowing how to, not knowing how to stop going for it, right? Chapter 4 is the 6 of Pentacles. If you have Aries in your chart, that might be why I brought that up, fam, because this card was also none of the other cards were in Aries, but I already brought up things, so maybe we'll see. You let me know how that vibes for you, okay? This is a card of equality, that earthy, slow-moving energy, but of equality. The vibe is that it's not give and take, it's give and receive. You know what I mean? There's always enough to share, right? Maybe this person has the coinage, but the people that they're sharing the coinage with have other ways that they're able to help him. You know what? Like, paying it forward isn't always in line at the, fast food joint and getting your coffee or whatever. There's so many ways to do that. It's that energy though, right? No one's greater than or lesser than. We're all connected. We're all in this together. It's give and receive, okay? So that's your top 4. Scorpio is water. We've got some water going on with that earth, okay? So underneath the High Priestess It's the King of Cups. Of all cards to be paired with the High Priestess. Isn't that a beautiful match, fam? Look at that. The thing about this, all of this emotional maturity going on and intelligence, the ability to feel in the moment and process and work through it and come out the other side and not having your entire day ruined because of something deep and difficult, you know what I mean, came up at any point, right? Being able to enjoy that ebb and flow. Your intuition is always leading you in the best directions. Don't get tripped up by the masculine and the feminine of it all. These can be different sides of you, right? This has been such a time, these recent months, for, yeah, sure, figuring out those dualities, the masculine and the feminine, that internal and that outward projection, you know what I mean? But also evolving up into that singularity and recognizing light, dark, masculine, feminine, that's all a part of me. And being enabled by that, being fueled by that, but like in the best of ways, okay? There's a resiliency happening here. Being able to flow, like it feels very cleansing, this water that's coming in, right? It's not about dampening you. It's not about putting your fire out. It's about washing away all of that grit and the oil spills that may have happened in your life. The equivalent of, right? What's coming up underneath that? Ooh, I just got the chills. What's coming up underneath that 10 of Cups? There we go. There we go, fam. Yeah. We're getting, sorry. I'm just really happy. Like, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That energy of, okay, I'm done with the roaring rapids. I'm ready for the calm, serene life, right? Taking your mind and going off into the peaceful waters, right? Are these actual people in your life that you're very protective over? I think it may also represent those sides of yourself, that inner child, that nurturing energy that you've been so protective over. You don't need to be so protective over yourself anymore. Right? That's what you've been realizing, Leo. Oh, because you know who you are. You know the games that people play, and you are not confused anymore by the illusions of this world. You see right through it, right? Other people's emotions and all the things that people do to try to distract you from figuring out your damn self and healing doesn't even faze you anymore. Or this is a really cool pairing going on here, and maybe, you know, saying underneath that death card is the 8 of Pentacles. There we go. These are some beautiful pentacles coming into play with us today, this month. You've been putting in the work. No distractions. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear other people's babble, but you've reached that point where it just doesn't affect you the same way. So that's lovely. And it doesn't matter because we got work to do. Maybe you've gone back to school. This is building, working on skills. This could be internal, which was the first hint that we got, but then also your emotions and stuff, right? Core factors, core things have been healed. You may not still feel like you're perfect or whatever. And you need to remember the other theme going on is you don't need to be perfect. That's not what it's about. That's just not what it's about. You know, there are so many of us, especially these days, that celebrate those imperfections, right? That uniqueness, right? So whatever it is, you've been putting in that focus. You know, the pentacles are that daily effort. You may not need to do blood, sweat, and actual tears, but daily effort, and you're doing it. right? That's being acknowledged and pointed out, like you are changing, and it's you. Then this isn't being done to you. If anything, there are things being done for you. Sure, I'll give you that. But you are making that effort. You are doing your work, which is good because you're the one who should be. You're the one who should be at the reins, right? You're the one who should be driving this little dinghy boat or canoe. Then, underneath the Six of Pentacles, after the Eight of Pentacles, all that work, all that hard work with this transformation, fam. Now you have these beautiful new seeds served to you on a golden platter. You have a message coming in about this. That may have been a long time coming. This is a new adventure. This person is a bit of a novice. And they may at times need to remember how incredible they are, how much they've learned, right? This isn't their first rodeo. You know, maybe people tend to underestimate you. Maybe you've started this new job. Maybe that's what a big part of that was, upgrading your skills for a new job, right? So maybe you're the new man, the new person at this work, in this business or whatever the heck, but you know who you are. And these are new seeds being planted and literally served to you on a golden platter. So whatever this message is that's coming in for you this month, that's just going to enable you. Like it may be coming from somebody who's younger than you. It may be something that others are overlooking or not really taken too seriously, but it's going to be so impactful for you. And it feels like this is all a part of that ebb and flow. Things can take time, but they're worth it. And it's happening, right? We may not always be able to see it, but it's happening. And I feel like this is all because of your transformation and the work that you've been putting in, the epiphanies and realizations that you've been having. All of this emotional intelligence, you are not codependent anymore. What's that book? Codependent No More. Indeed. If you ever were, you know what I mean? Maybe there was a particular way of thinking and feeling that you were a bit more codependent on than you realized, right? And you've been working through it. What's the caboose to this story? Logic. And now we have the balance of the Queen. No comparison. This one is the caboose. This is at the end. They're not paired up with anyone or anything. I like to think of the King and Queen of Swords being really good at debates, like friendly debates. They're not getting overly emotional. They're not taking things personal. They can hear somebody else's side. They can hear these other facts and come to their own dang conclusions. It's just like, whereas with them, the cups, they're not so emotionally swayed. You know, they don't just give in to everything anymore. You know what I mean? They can go with the flow and have choices, you know, they're not giving up their some people, when they deal with certain pain and trauma, they'll shut down. And like they don't even, there was a Leo once upon a time who was the first person who ever said, like, I don't cry anymore. And I was like, because everything made me cry. You know what I mean? We were such opposites with that spectrum. This is being able to feel, being able to have those emotions. This is being able to think. But she's kind of on par with the High Priestess, right? That air energy. There's no wavering. This is one of the few swords, one of the 3 swords in the entire deck that's going straight up. There's no confusion. We're not leaning to the past. We're not even leaning to the future. We're in this present moment, and there's nothing but logic and clarity going on here. If any advice can be given, is that tongue can be quite the sharp, double-edged sword. So remember the responsibility in that, okay? Sometimes you can get a bit snippy and just, you know, that may be something you've been working on. right? On the bottom of that deck, I gotta censor it for the YouTubes, is the Lovers, that Gemini action. I want you to remember that when it comes to things like love and the tarot, we're talking first and foremost about self-love. Love begins with us. So remember that balance to life, right? The things that you want to complain about to others, maybe you should look in the mirror and be like, why do I care? Why is this such a big deal to me? Right? The tree of knowledge, the tree of life are also represented in that Gemini card. That Lover's card, I mean it's Gemini, but that Lover's card. So instead of being so focused on the couple, what may be perceived as a couple and love and romance, remember that love begins with you, and that means like self-love. That ability to nurture yourself, take care of yourself, and share that, because it's just going to emanate from you, right? There's something about that Lover's card that I'm struggling to decipher. What is that vibe? And what are the Moon cards that Leo could really use right about now? What's the advice that the Moon can share with Leo for July of 2025? Let's get one more. That is oh, I see. That was the two. These cards are so thick that it's difficult to know sometimes. Communication is key. There we go. Yep. Communication is key. See, I'm not too worried about like the double-edged blade of the tongue, because there's that balance there between logic and emotions. Everything has been balancing out for you. That is beautiful. New moon in Gemini. Boosh, back to that Lover's card. But we also have the South Node. Don't let your past hold you back, Leo. Who are you fighting? Take off the armor, right? You're done with any battle. Any battle that you felt that you were dealing with, you're done with it. On the bottom is New Moon in Cancer. You and your loved ones are safe. Look at that throat chakra. We have the throat chakra really coming up with these cards. That beautiful blue. But we also have, I don't know, I feel like this color is more for, what is it, that high heart chakra between the throat and the heart chakra, right? Being represented here. So maybe when meditating and stuff like that, like, This is the new deck, fam. So let's go ahead and refer to the book, just in case I missed anything, because there's something that I'm like, what is that? Okay, so New Moon in Gemini. A successful relationship usually comes down to one thing: communication. And the New Moon in Gemini, the New Moon in Gemini card is all about the start of a new cycle for communicating with the person at the center of your question, if that's a thing. Talking things through is the answer to whatever it is you're asking about. If you can't talk to that person, you can journal it to yourself. You don't have to send a letter. You know what I mean? Emails, text messages, and all other forms of communication will also help you now. If the issue you're asking about concerns a sibling or neighbor, there's a new start coming, a time to wipe the slate clean and start over. This card could also suggest you've been too frivolous lately and need to get grounded again. But more importantly, drawing this card emphasizes the need to communicate. So under the portion attuned to the moon says, write a list of all the people you love most and see if you're prioritizing them. However that resonates with you, right? So additional meanings are time to tell someone how you feel. Don't be all in your head and not in your heart. What did I say? Balance. Someone's flirting with you. Hey. Read more books. The teaching is Gemini is a sign of communication and socializing, of ideas and travel, and the energy around it and around this card, no matter when you pull it, is speedy, gossipy, flirtatious. The new moon in Gemini is a wonderful time to get out and socialize. Gemini loves to chat. One thing to be aware of is that this card can also indicate being mentally scattered. Daily meditations will help to unscramble crossed wires in your brain. Meditating, things like meditating affirmations are free resources that can really help with your mind and your subconscious, like retraining your subconscious and such, and just getting all the distractions the heck out of the way, fam. Am I right? All right, South Node. The South Node, like the North Node, is a karmic point, but it's opposite to the North Node and relates to the past, perhaps even to past lives. Whatever you're going through and whatever you're asking about, there's a chance that age-old programming and conditioning is stopping you from achieving all that you might. Do you feel stuck in something? This card will often come as a sign that the situation or relationship you're asking about has somehow become suffocating, even toxic. It suggests that someone, you even, needs to be released, that there's some kind of addiction going on or an unhealthy attachment that needs to be sorted out. One thing is for sure, when you get this card, you're being challenged to make some changes, even if staying where you are feels easier and safer. So an affirmation type portion is, I release the past. Additional meanings for the card: relationship is karmic and has played out across many lifetimes. Your attraction to someone may be verging on the obsessive. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So the South Node is where the moon crosses the ecliptic going south. On the horoscope chart, it allows us what we are likely to become obsessed with, or it shows us. Allows what? But which will probably do us little or no good. The South Node is the karmic astrological point that reminds us of the well-known phrase, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Boosh, mic drop. Okay, Leo. Like, ultimately, thank you so much for keeping me company this entire reading. I really do appreciate it, right? Time and energy are precious. I appreciate you. But also, please remember, I believe in you.